welcome back to Cash Flow Confidence. I'm Shelby Ashley, and I help business owners feel more confident about their cash flow. So in last week's episode, I talked about how to make sure that you're not your business and like how to really remove yourself from the business. And so in this week's episode, I'm going to dive into more of the non-financial things that improve the value of your business. So things that you're not going to see at all on the profit and loss or on the balance sheet. So let's get into it. First, I want to remind you of, kind of why it's important, even if you're not selling in the next 5 years, 10 years, why it's important to make sure that your business has a lot of value. And that's because it's going to give you options and it's going to give you freedom and it's going to give you the ability to scale without having to work all the time in your business. But here's what most people don't realize is that it's not only the numbers that determine what your business is worth. I mean, your profitability, of course, matters a lot in your cash flow, but when buyers are evaluating your business, or even when you're stepping back to assess it and look at it, they're looking at way more than just your financials. They're looking at your culture, your systems, your market positioning, your brand, customer loyalty. So today, let's dig into those non-financial factors that are going to make or break the value of your business. So the first thing a potential buyer might look at is your culture and how well your team works together. Because it's a thing that a lot of people kind of want to put off the back burner and ignore, but your culture is a huge, huge component to the value of your business. Buyers are going to want to know, does this team work well together? Do people stay here long term, or is there like a huge churn rate? Is there loyalty, communication, ownership in what people do? Because a buyer of your business doesn't want to step in and then have to like immediately replace everybody. I mean, I know that happens sometimes, and it's not a good thing, right? When you sell your business and then your whole team gets fired, like that's terrible. You don't want that to happen. And so making sure that your culture is aligned, your team works well together, they all get along, processes flow smoothly is going to be great for when you do sell your business, because then a new buyer can just step in and it's just, business as usual. So think of your culture like the roots of a tree. It's not something you see every day, but if it's really rotten underneath, then the whole tree is just going to fall over, right? You don't want that to happen. And so even if your team is small, like only 2 or 3 people, investing in that culture is investing ultimately in retention and productivity and long-term value. And so a buyer that's stepping into a well-functioning and respectful team is worth, a whole lot off the get-go. The second thing a potential buyer might look at beyond your culture is your customer loyalty and customer experience. So buyers care a lot about repeat revenue, like not just one-off things, but revenue that's repeatable through, ongoing services or customers that continue to come back. But what they really want to know is, do customers love your business? Do you have strong customer retention? Do you have great public reviews? Do you have a whole lot of word-of-mouth referrals? If all of your revenue is tied to constant acquisition and constantly chasing new clients, then the value plummets, because now a potential buyer is going to step into your business and find that, oh great, all of the new sales are now up to me, or now I've got to bring in this salesperson. Whereas if you've got a system set up where customers are constantly coming in and word of mouth is, constantly being put out there, then that's far less work for a buyer and far much more value for your business. I've seen businesses that have, pretty average financials, like they weren't doing great, but they had like a raving fan base and they got strong offers because buyers knew that they could build on that base and then improving the financials could come later. So ask yourself, if I left the business, what would my customers say? Like, would they stay? If the answer is yes, then you've got a lot of leverage there. But if the answer is no, like if I left my business, my customers would leave with me basically, then that's not good. I mean, it's great that your customers love you, but they need to love your product or service, whether you're the one doing it or not, Another thing that buyers are going to look at is your brand and your market position overall. So this one is huge. So how is your business positioned in the market? Buyers aren't just looking at what you do, they're looking at how well you stand out from your competitors. So do you have a recognizable brand? Do you have a clear value proposition? Do you have messaging that connects with a specific audience? So think of your brand, that's like curb appeal. A buyer might eventually look at, the innards and the plumbing and everything of the house, but your brand is what makes these buyers stop and stare at your house in the first place. And so if you're forgettable or you're just kind of generic or there's really not much that sets you apart from your competitors, then, that's a potential red flag. But if you're positioned clearly, competitively, and confidently, then that results in equity and, the value of your business goes up. Something else that buyers were going to look at when it comes to your business is your operational structure and the systems that you have in place, because your systems are what allow you to scale. So if everything in your business is being done manually or nothing is being documented, it doesn't just create chaos, it's going to kill your value, because buyers want to see project management systems or SOPs for your core tasks, automation. So many things can be automated these days, especially like with AI and stuff. So automations are huge. Defined roles and responsibilities are important. Even things like when it comes to client onboarding or client invoicing, customer support, all of these things should have processes in place, because a business that is systemized looks stable, right? Like the less human involvement means that the less that things are likely to break. If more things are systemized, then they're just going to keep on running. And a business that runs on just memory or, let's go look up that email message that referenced how to do this one thing that one time, that's going to look really fragile. And so if someone bought your business tomorrow, how long would it take them to figure out how to run it? You want to shrink that time frame as much as you can. That's what buyers are thinking when they're buying your business, is how long is it going to take me to step in and keep things running? And honestly, it's what you need to be thinking about as well. A final thing that buyers look at is one that you can't fully control, but you can stay ahead of, and that's your industry outlook, because buyers want to know, are you in a growing market or are you in a shrinking one? Are you riding a trend? Are you building, a long-term shift? Are your offers still relevant? It's kind of like in the office, a paper company, right? Like everything's moving to computers and they're still operating on a paper company. That's why when the show first starts out, it's like, which branch are we going to axe? Because sales aren't being made because their industry outlook is not looking that great. So if you're in an outdated or saturated niche, that can really hurt your value, even if you do have good numbers. But if you've positioned your business as innovative and agile and aligned with where the market is going, then that's an opportunity that buyers want to bet on. So my advice to you, if you have kind of found yourself in a dying industry, think about who your current customers are and think about what they are leaving your company in order to go pursue. And then just stay on top of that and think, okay, well, if I'm offering this and they don't want it anymore, they want this instead, then just see how you can shift that and stay on top of it. Just stay educated and do your best to stay relevant, because you're either going to adapt or you're going to be forgotten. So just to recap, it's not just your numbers that drive your value. It's your culture, it's your customer experience, it's your brand, it's the systems that you have in place, and it's your overall market position. These are those intangible things that are not going to show up on a financial statement or on a balance sheet that are going to make a buyer say, I want this business, even if it costs me a premium. And they're also the things that are going to make you feel more proud and more peaceful running it today, even if you're not ready to sell yet. So next week, I'm going to talk about, if you're not already offering something that brings in recurring revenue, how you can kind of position yourself to that and start creating more predictability without completely just overhauling your offer. So let's work to make your business worth more on paper and worth more in your everyday life. So that's all I have for this week. Bye, guys.